Minister Mendicino, after committee today, just basically repeated the same thing he did in the House of Commons yesterday. After that, we've since learned that the Prime Minister's office had a staff member know 3 months in advance, as well as the Public Safety Minister's office. What do you think about the fact that we still have no clear answers as to why staff knew 3 months in advance, but their bosses were never told?
Well, no one believes the minister when he says that he didn't know. He knew 3 months ago, and he didn't come forward. And not only that, he then pretended that he didn't know. And so the minister simply cannot be believed. He knew for 3 months, and he did nothing. And he tried to cover up that fact. And on that basis, he needs to resign. And if somehow he didn't know, ultimately the buck stops with the minister. It's called ministerial responsibility. This is a minister who has repeatedly not stated the facts as they are. This is a minister who has repeatedly, frankly, mischaracterized the truth, and he has lost the trust and confidence of Canadians. This is an absolutely disgraceful situation. He needs to go, he needs to resign, and he needs to do it now.
And for my next question, can I just have you step a little bit closer to the mic there? Sorry. But so with that being said about Mr. Mendicino, what about the Prime Minister, given the fact that we now know that a staff member in his office also knew 3 months in advance?
Well, again, it always seems like on any of these issues, the Prime Minister and the ministers in his government are never aware. They're never briefed. They're always conveniently left in the dark. The Prime Minister knew, the Minister of Public Safety knew, and as a starting point, the Minister needs to go, and the Prime Minister has a lot to answer for. And in the meantime, the government needs to use the tools that it has available to send Canada's most notorious serial killer back to a maximum security facility. It is completely disgraceful that he is now doing soft time, despite the most heinous of crimes that he has committed, and he needs to spend every living, breathing day of his life behind bars in the strictest confines of a maximum security facility.
Traditionally, though, I mean, politicians shouldn't be intervening in the justice system. I mean, there was a whole thing around Jody Wilson-Raybould about that whole question, and now you're saying, you know, they should be taking action over a single case within the justice system as well. So is it not a slippery slope, then, to intervene or have politicians intervene in that way?
Paul, this was a decision of Correctional Services Canada. Paul Bernardo is the most notorious serial killer in Canada. He needs to spend the rest of his life behind bars in a maximum security facility. The fact that this minister, under this minister's watch, that didn't happen, and then the minister lied about what he knew, is beyond the pale. The minister needs to resign, and he needs to resign now.
If it was a staff member or staff members who did not brief the minister, is it not one of them who should be taking the fall in this matter?
Ultimately, it's ministerial responsibility. The buck stops with the minister. And again, we see this continual pattern of someone didn't brief me. So it's a staff member, it's CSIS, it's whoever. But ultimately, with this Prime Minister and this minister, they never accept responsibility. And quite frankly, it's completely not believable that that information would come across the desk of a staff member, that Canada's most notorious serial killer was going to be sent to a medium security prison, and that he or she wouldn't see fit to alert the minister. It doesn't bear any credibility, and given this minister's long track record of misleading and frankly lying outright, no one believes him. He needs to resign.
Yeah, in French as well.
Yeah, so do you... Yeah. Could you help me with a question, because I don't have any statement to do. I just want to answer a question about...
Yes.
I want to collaborate, but...
The minister says, this shouldn't have happened, that there are corrective measures in place, do you think that, en français, is, it's the right steps to be taken?
Encore une fois, le ministre aujourd'hui a refusé d'accepter la responsabilité ministérielle qui va avec son titre de ministre de la Sécurité publique. On sait que le bureau du premier ministre l'a avisé il y a 3 mois. 3 mois avant que le ministre prétende en avoir pris connaissance et prétende avoir été choqué d'apprendre la nouvelle que Paul Bernardo avait été mis dans des conditions moins sévères de détention. Donc, c'est totalement inacceptable. On ne croit pas M. Mendicino quand il dit qu'il n'a appris que le 30 mai, d'autant plus que le bureau du premier ministre a confirmé hier qu'il avait été mis au courant au mois de mars, que le premier ministre avait été mis au courant la veille que le ministre de la Sécurité publique avait été avisé de cette situation-là. Donc, pour toutes ces raisons-là, le ministre Mendicino n'a plus aucune crédibilité. Ce n'est pas la première fois qu'on le voit jouer dans le film de la désinformation. Il doit donc faire la chose honorable qui lui reste. C'est lui le ministre, c'est lui qui est responsable des gestes, des paroles qui sont dans son cabinet. On ne croit pas qu'il n'a pas été avisé. Et s'il n'a pas été avisé, c'est de sa faute. Il doit démissionner, il doit le faire dès maintenant.
If in the end of the day, maybe a staff member takes the fall, would that satisfy the Conservatives that something has been done?
Il y a une chose qui existe dans notre système parlementaire, c'est la responsabilité ministérielle. À la toute fin, c'est le ministre qui doit être responsable. Et malheureusement, on l'a vu avec ce premier ministre, M. Trudeau lui-même, qui a été reconnu coupable de manquement à l'éthique, dont des ministres ont été reconnus coupables de manquement à l'éthique. Et tout ce qu'on entend, c'est « je prends la responsabilité », mais ça arrête là. Jamais personne ne prend vraiment la responsabilité et n'accepte la responsabilité qui va avec la responsabilité ministérielle, c'est-à-dire de démissionner quand tu ne fais pas ton travail correctement ou quand tu mens aux Canadiens. On a un ministre qui l'a fait à plusieurs reprises actuellement. M. Mendicino a menti aux Canadiens, il a joué avec la vérité et aujourd'hui, il doit assumer, s'il est honorable, il doit assumer la responsabilité ministérielle qui va avec son poste et démissionner.
Our French colleagues, thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you for your English question.